Hello and welcome. I hope that you're all doing well, and I'm glad that you're here with me today. We are going to talk about books, and we're going to talk about books that are written by two authors who share the ability to write books in different styles for different readers. I actually love all of the books that I've read by both of these authors, and the ones we'll talk about today are two of my favorites. So, the authors are V.E. Schwab and Olivia Blake. The books are The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue and Alone with You in the Ether. If you have read the Atlas series, including Atlas 6 and the Atlas Paradox, then you are familiar with Olivia Blake. It's hard to decide which of these books to start with because I love them both so much. But we are going to start with The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. And we meet Addie in 1714 France. Addie wants a different life than the one she is destined for. She loves stories. She longs to escape, to travel, to experience all that she can of life. But her parents have decided that she will marry a man whose wife died. That way she can take care of the kids, take care of him, and her mother assures her that she will learn to love him. In desperation, Addie makes a Faustian bargain that backfires. She'll live forever, but no one will ever remember her. The story takes place over continents and centuries, across history and art. 300 years after she makes a bargain, she's in New York City, and Addie meets a young man, one of my favorite characters, who remembers her and remembers her name. So there are a couple quotes I really like from this book. One of them is on my shirt. Stories are a way to preserve oneself, to be remembered and to forget. That's the one on my shirt. Then there is another one actually. The first mark she left upon the world, long before she knew the truth, that ideas are so much wilder than memories, that they long and look for ways of taking root. If you like books that develop over time, providing a backstory for characters so you really understand them and their motivations, this is for you. Our other title today is Alone with You in the Ether by Olivia Blake. And it's a romance book, but it's not romancy romance. More like a contemporary fiction book that has a romance in it. Mental health and working to preserve your mental health is a big part of the story. Regan and Aldo meet in the Art Institute of Chicago. She is bipolar and an artist who doesn't think of herself as an artist. Regan is undergoing court-ordered psychotherapy related to a counterfeit that she committed. Aldo is a doctoral student. He has destructive thoughts that he manages by thinking about and creating mathematical equations related to time travel. Regan copes with the dreariness of life by living impulsively. Something her mother and the voice in her head that sounds a lot like her mother remind her is reckless. Aldo gets through the chaos of everyday life by creating a wall of routine. Rules and formulas to keep him going. When they meet, Regan agrees to 6 conversations with Aldo, not knowing that these 6 conversations will change her existence. Alone with You in the Ether explores what it means to be well and unwell, and how to face the fractures of yourself and still love as if you were not broken. I find that this book is not for everyone. I read some online reviews, and with books that I really like, I always look at the low-scoring reviews to see what the comments are and why our impressions of the book are so different. And with this book, I think some people go into it expecting a romance when it's not all that romance. There are comments that the pacing is slow. So I was talking to a friend about this book, and she mentioned that she found the first part of the book to be really slow. When she got to the second half, she really enjoyed it. And in the end, we both gave it 4 stars. So with both of these books, just be aware that they develop as you read them. They're not for everyone, but I truly love them. So if you like one of these books, you will most likely like the other. They both have characters that are flawed, and others feel the characters are somewhat self-absorbed. These books take time to develop and really are character-centered. So let's talk about some other titles. If you want a popular contemporary book that is romance, try Book Lovers by Emily Henry. Nora is a literary agent who meets with an editor trying to sell him on the idea of editing a book for one of her authors. He passes on that book, but is interested in the author's future work. Jump ahead 2 years, and that book was a huge success. Nora's sister Libby loves the book and plans a vacation where they are both going to go to the small town that the book is set in. While there, Nora keeps running into Charlie, the editor that she had met with 2 years before. As they say, Nora is not an ideal heroine, and Charlie is nobody's hero. But as they are thrown together again and again in a series of coincidences, what they discover might unravel the carefully crafted stories they've written about themselves. Next, and we don't have a copy in the library here, but it is available in some of the other branches of our library, and it is If We Were Villains by M.L. Rio. Oliver has spent 10 years in jail for a murder he may or may not have committed. When he is released, the detective who investigated the crime is about to retire, and he asks Oliver to tell him what really happened. And that's the story of If We Were Villains. Oliver and 6 friends attend an elite arts academy studying Shakespeare. Each of the friends plays the same roles in life and on stage: a villain, a hero, a tyrant, a temptress, an ingenue, and an extra. When the casting changes and the secondary players become the stars, the play spills over into life, and one of them is found dead. Next is The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. Our copy is checked out, so I'm just showing it to you online. The circus arrives without warning. It's not there one day, it's there the next. Behind the scenes, there's a competition taking place between 2 young magicians, Celia and Marco. They have been training since childhood for this, each being trained by a different magician. Celia and Marco fall in love without knowing that only one of them is expected to survive the competition. You'll enjoy everyone from the other circus performers to the patrons attending the circus. And finally, Piranesi by Susanna Clark. Piranesi's house is no ordinary building. Its rooms are infinite. Its corridors endless. The walls are lined with thousands upon thousands of statues, each one different from the others. Within the halls, there's an ocean imprisoned. Waves thunder up against the staircases. Rooms are flooded in an instant. There is only one other person in the house, a man called the Other, who visits Piranesi twice a week and asks for help with research into a great and secret knowledge. But as Piranesi explores, evidence emerges of another person, and a terrible truth begins to unravel, revealing a world beyond the one Piranesi has always known. That's a brief description. It's so much different than that. It's so much better than that. If you like books that develop over time, like our other books today, this is definitely a book for you. And there we are. I hope that you enjoyed looking at The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab and Alone with You in the Ether by Olivia Blake, and other books to read for a similar experience. I will be back soon with what I am reading in September. I'll also do a readathon recap early in September, so you will know how the readathon I participated in went. I hope that you will join me then, and until then, I hope that you enjoy all that you do and all that you read. And thank you!